Yeah, so the beginning of this season did not go as planned.
Yeah, not so much of the good thus far with the baseball playing and the Jello and the just not ideal.
Craig, you cannot forget the pudding pops.
I didn't forget the pudding pops. They're coming later.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, well played. Yeah, so the beginning of the national season, as you kind of expect with any baseball season, kind of goes unexpectedly, and that's how you end up in a season where the Braves and the Phillies are at the top of the National League East.
Yes. The two teams that were predicted by everyone to be at the bottom of the NL East.
Yeah, somebody tweeted this out earlier, so I figured it's worth saying. If, as of this very moment, if the baseball season were to end, the following teams would win their division: the Boston Red Sox, the Detroit Tigers. Not too bad, right? And then you have the Houston Astros.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure Kansas City would win. They're 7-0.
Well, okay, so yeah, probably.
Beside the point.
But yeah, okay. So this is as of yesterday. I don't have up to
There
date
we go.
stats.
Okay, fine.
Uh, Houston Astros, the Colorado Rockies, the Cincinnati Reds, and the Atlanta Braves.
Yeah.
So if that puts any perspective on the fact that there are 155 games remaining for the Washington Nationals, I hope it did. Because it is a long baseball season. I feel like every year we do this. I have an old coworker of mine, Bill, that sent me a text message today after the debacle that was today's game, which we will talk about at some length. But he was like, "I know that it's early, but why is this happening?" And I said, "I completely understand where you're coming from, but I vaguely remember saying exactly this last April."
Yeah.
And that's ultimately what it's about, right? It's so easy when you hit 12 months later and 162 games later, plus some playoff games, to then go back and look and say, "Oh, wait, this happened last year."
It happened last year, and what was it last year? They were, I believe, under 500 until almost the third way point through the season. I think they were like, it might have been back in 2012 that I saw it. They were like 26-27.
Yeah, I don't remember, to be totally honest with you. But
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm baseball referencing now, so keep going.
But it's a long season. I think there are a couple people out there on Twitter that are joining Team Apathy.
Team apathy is becoming a thing.
I've seen it a couple times. Team Apathy, hashtag Team Apathy. Just because it's a long season and there's no use getting totally worked up with a 2-5 start. Yes, it's not great, but it's the first 7 games of the season, and it's fine.
So
it's a small sample size. That's all it is.
you're absolutely right, by the way. As of June 1st of the 2014 season, the Nationals were 27-28.
Oh, it was one off.
Well, 26-27 was a thing 2 days earlier. So and that was at the end of May. But the bottom of the barrel for the Nationals were 27-28 on June 1st. So that's I legitimately forgot that.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's exactly the point, right? It's so easy to get hung up on that stuff. Yeah, the Nationals started the season 3-0 last year, but then went through some tough times when they had injuries. And just to look back at this year, 3 of the Nationals' 5 best hitters are not, well, as of today, Jason Worth is back.
Yes.
But so still 2 of the Nationals' 5 best hitters in Span and Rendon are not in the lineup. And Jason Worth just got back from a mediocre minor league experience, and he's still probably not 100%.
Right.
So, or really even close to it, because when you come back from injury, you're usually not at 100%. So the Nationals have a lot of time to get things going. Oh, and by the way, until Jordan Zimmerman's start today, which was a total clusterfuck of a disaster, let's just be totally honest about it.
Yeah, but we're going to get into that a little bit.
The National starters had a sub-2 earned run average.
Yeah, a sub-2 earned run average through the first 6 games of the season. And honestly, I know Jordan Zimmerman got pegged for 7 earned through 2 1/3.
Yeah.
But if the defense was actually playing defense, how many of those would have been unearned, or how many of those runs would have not scored?
Yeah,
You know?
and I think that's a rough 7 earned runs, if from what I've heard and what I've seen. Yeah, it is. It seemed like it was a rough 7 earned runs. It probably shouldn't have been that significant.
Mental errors don't go in the scorebook as errors, but they really should. When outfielders don't know what's going on between the two of them, that's an error, even though
Bryce Harper and Michael Taylor allow a ball to drop between them. Michael Taylor doesn't get to a ball on the warning track that was, by all accounts, I didn't see the game, but was by all accounts easily catchable. Ian Desmond boots a ball that probably could have been an error. So we could have been looking at a 4-error game instead of a 1-error game.
Exactly. So errors are subjective. Earned runs are bullshit and stupid.
Yep.
Just like pitcher wins. But let's talk about the good things.
Why don't you go ahead and start talking about some good things?
Through the first 6 games, the Nationals starters had a sub-2 ERA.
Yeah.
They have been utterly dominant while the offense has struggled to get going.
Yeah. You knew that was going to happen, right? I mean, this was the hashtag narrative that was going to come and become a thing all year, but alongside Nats can't score with runners in scoring position, which is, a whole other thing. But it's the same kind of thing, right? Where you look at what the Nationals can do and you say, well, this is really potential, but this one's part is bad. So let's focus on the bad. But there's a lot of good, and I remember all last year, I had some coworkers that I was talking to. I spoke to you. I said it on the podcast. Like through June, the Braves were just right with the Nationals, and I was like, yeah, that other shoe's going to drop. There's no way that this can happen for 162, and the Braves ended up being 17 games out and finished 3rd in the division. So you have to. It's so easy to forget, and this is for casual baseball fans, and it's for non-casual baseball fans. It's really easy to get frustrated when you see a team that people have picked as the prohibitive favorite to win the World Series and certainly win the National League to start a season 2-5. But you got to let that kind of part go and say there are 155 games left. The Nationals aren't totally there yet. Matt Williams, in his defense, is still figuring out how to try to use a bullpen. That's a little weird.
Yeah, and the bullpen is not great. And let's be honest, bullpens are the easiest thing to replace. Xavier Cedeno not having the best go-around so far. Not been the best so far. But the Nationals have other options. It's week 1. In 2012, do you know who the Nationals' opening day closer was?
Opening day closer, Brad Lidge.
Brad Lidge.
Yeah, Brad Lidge.
And the Nationals went on to win the NL East. Okay, so you can have bad pitchers, especially in the bullpen, and it'll be okay. You look at the starting depth that's still there, and it's been outstanding. Yes, we know Jordan Zimmerman got a little bit, rocked, but the BABIP, you've got some tabs open, I assume, on your computer. Look up the Nationals starting pitcher's BABIP thus far through the season. I mean, how many runs have been scored on bloop hits? It seems like that's all the Phillies could do. Bloop single, flare. They haven't given up a lot of hard contact thus far.
You're absolutely right. So the Nationals' BABIP so far this season, which again doesn't include Jordan Zimmerman's start today, so this number is definitely mortal lock going up, and it's over 300.
Yeah. 290-ish is average.
And they're at 301.
Yeah. So they've been
and as I said, it's going up after today's game. So
yeah, nickeled and dimed a little bit. We're going to get to Ian Desmond a little bit later and talk about his opening week struggles. But positive to look at. The starting rotation has been as advertised thus far. It really, really has been. The lineup hasn't. And no one was expecting April to be good and sunny. Anthony Rendon isn't there. Jason Worth is coming back from injury. And the table setter, Denard Span, isn't there. Yes, Michael Taylor has shown a little pop here and there, but he's also shown in the field that he's still young and that he's in his, today was his 20th Major League game, 21st career Major League game? That. And this this is a gentleman who's supposed to be the captain of the outfield. He is supposed to take control and say, Bryce Harper, no, I know you're a superstar, but this is my ball. And he's not there yet.
Right.
Should he be there yet? Probably not, because he's still young and it's not quite his time yet. He needs a little bit more minor league seasoning, which everyone agrees. He's been put in this position a little bit prematurely. So, the bat is there and he can face Major League pitching, but right now the 2015 Washington Nationals do not need him to be their center fielder. And that's a blessing, because it'll make him better in the future. And he's a great option for right now, but he's not Denard Span. He's not as smooth. He's not as fluid. He's got a way better arm.
Oh, God.
He unleashed a throw today.
I heard that, but I haven't seen it yet, but it was supposed to be good.
A beaut.
Yeah.
What do they call him? The tool shed?
Yes. It's a great name for him, because he's very toolsy, but he's got to put it together at the major league level. And speaking of, I'm going to start to go to some of the questions that people are asking us.
Thanks for getting it. Yoder, it wasn't me, and I'm really sad that it wasn't.
We're going to get there.
Okay.
Because that's fun for later.
Okay.
But as a topical conversation,
John
Feng asks, Michael A. Taylor, not great, but he's young and has a lot of promise, needs seasoning. Thoughts?
He's raw.
A lot of those. What?
He's raw, yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You're not looking at a guy who
a polished, finished product,
who should be a starting center fielder for a Major League Baseball team at this point.
Right.
But because of injuries, he's a starting Major League center fielder for a team that's supposed to be very successful, and you're seeing some of the holes in that situation. And it's not just the fielding error that he made today. Well, the two fielding screw-ups that he made today, essentially. But he's also going to continue striking out all the time.
Yes.
It's just going to be his MO, and he's going to hit for power. He's probably despite his speed, he's probably more a number 7 than a number 1. But the Nationals are dealing with a whole lot of injuries.
Exactly.
So he's in the number 1 spot.
Michael Taylor is not the Nationals starting center fielder. He is the replacement center fielder right now. Right. That's the game. I mean, that's it. I mean, he is, as a Major League product right now, he is not great. He's good. He's better than I thought he would be, personally.
I totally agree. I was watching him in spring training, and thinking, there's no way he could sustain this, but he still has shown the ability to hit for power already.
Yep.
And he is still just preposterously fast. He has done some hashtag spanning on some baseballs in the early 6 games of this year, despite today's kind of disaster in Boston. But he has done just gotten under some baseballs and made them look like easy catches that were not easy catches.
Right, and he will continue to learn, but he will continue to learn at the minor league level because, like I said, he is not the Nationals center fielder. Denard Span is until Denard Span is gone.
Right, and he's in his last year of his contract because the Nationals picked his option up this year. So who knows what happens going forward? But on that note, we kind of mentioned that Denard Span is not Michael A. Taylor should not be a leadoff hitter. And Alex _R38 asks us, what are our thoughts on Escobar hitting leadoff?
I think Escobar has had one of the better weeks on the team this first week, this opening week. I think he's been under the radar. He's playing a position that he wasn't expecting to play and that anyone else wasn't expecting to play. And I don't believe he's actually ever played third base before.
He did it with the Braves very briefly.
Okay, very, very briefly. But
I think like 5 games or something.
Yeah. So he has fit in very nicely. He's made some great plays. No one's mentioned Escobar too much lately, and that's a very good thing.
Yeah, he's just kind of flying under the radar and doing his thing, which is not what he's always been known for.
Right. Oh, yeah. But he's been doing his job, and I think right now, I mean, you can say something negative or positive about just about anyone on the ball club thus far, and I think the most positive thing about Yunel Escobar is that you can't say anything negative about what he's done so far.
Right, and just like you said, especially when you consider his reputation. And so you like to see the fact that he's just putting his head down. He's playing a position that he's probably not comfortable with. He probably wanted to be a shortstop coming into the year. Then he was going to be a second baseman. Then he goes to Matt Williams and says, I'll play third while Rendon's hurt. No big deal. Those are the kinds of things that you look at and you go, yeah, this is good. I like what's happening here.
Yep.
And so I think that's a really good sign for the Nationals. As far as him hitting leadoff hitter, I don't know. I think we both had him hitting leadoff in our preseason predictions.
Yeah, I deleted it. I don't remember.
If I remember correctly, I'm fairly confident that we both did. I don't know where you still stand on that. I just think it's a smart move. I think it's a great place for him to hit. I don't think there's a better option at the moment outside of Jason Worth, but that's a whole other thing.
Yep. But I would put Jason Worth there now, but...
Yeah, exactly. But, I mean, Escobar has started hot, and he's played some solid defense at a position he's very unfamiliar with, and I think that his on-base percentage is by far the best of any infielder on the team at the moment, and I think you just say, all right, we're going to put you there. Let's see if you can keep making contact, because we know you're not going to hit home runs, and hopefully some guys behind you can do some damage.
Exactly. Yeah, I've been very impressed with him so far, just by how steadily he's been doing his job.
Yeah, I completely agree. So Alex asks another question. I'm just going to keep on pushing on it because I'm basically going through in order except for the fun ones. So Alex says, so Tanner Roark is Detweiler 2.0. Williams will use him once a week in a blowout. I really hope that's not true.
Yeah.
James O'Hara today on Twitter said something, and I think that it's totally true. It was actually right as Tanner Roark gave up that home run in the second or third inning of work or whatever. So it was pretty poor timing, but his point was very well taken. And he said Tanner Roark, something along the lines of Tanner Roark is way too good for this role.
It's true, and he is. But why would the Nationals do anything different?
Yeah, I mean what do you do?
I mean, yeah, you don't trade him because he's an asset.
Right.
And you could be looking at 2 open spots in the rotation next year. He's young. He's under team control for several more years. He confidently does his job, and he does it well. And he's going to be there in case of injury. And it's not like they're telling Tanner Roark, like they did Detweiler, that you are a reliever now. They're not saying that to Tanner Roark. They're saying you are a reliever currently.
Yeah, at the moment.
Yes, at the moment. So I don't think it's a good comparison because Tanner Roark has shown more than Detweiler ever showed as a starter. And injuries do happen. They absolutely happen. And he's right there. And what would Rizzo do? Trade him away? That's just no.
Yeah, well, there's no trade option, but I said at the beginning of the year, and I probably wasn't incredibly popular with this, but I thought that Tanner Roark should have gone to AAA.
Yeah.
And it's not because he is at a talent level where he should be in AAA. He's not
stretched out.
He is a major league baseball starter. Let's not make any ifs, ands, or buts about it. He has surprised for long enough that he's become a legitimate Major League Baseball starter. But when you have a guy pitching in the bullpen, basically, like James O'Hara was alluding to, he's either going to pitch in mop-up disaster games or he's not going to pitch. And that's going to be the problem, unless you have him just coming in and pitching a seventh-inning situation, which I don't think benefits anybody when he's inevitably going to need to make some starts this year when someone gets hurt. And so... Go ahead.
Here's the thing. The Nationals were down 8-0. Tanner Roark came into the game. Maybe it was 8-2, but it was at one point the Nationals were down 8-0. Tanner Roark came in, and outside of a monster home run from noted home run hitter David Ortiz, the Nationals chipped away.
Right.
One big bases clearing double, and you're talking a 2-run game. That's incredibly valuable. One day, the Nationals might have a starter get absolutely blown up in the first 4 innings and bring in Tanner Roark to kind of be that bridge. And he shuts him down for a couple innings. The Nats able to get 1 or 2 or 3 runs an inning, chip away at the lead, and come back and win. You know, that's an asset. I mean, you can't just have any pitcher do that because mop-up guy is, bad. Tanner Roark is a guy that can keep you in the game when you're down 8 because if the offense is playing like it is, they will hit. So.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's going to take time. And like we've alluded to many times, the Nationals are missing middle of the order guys, and it's going to take time in order for that to happen. Them chipping away at the lead today, when it was a bit of a lost cause already, makes you feel a little bit good about what's going forward. But Tanner Roark did good work coming out of the bullpen. I don't want to belittle it. It's just he should be doing more important work, even if that is starting at a minor league level.
That's fair.
That's just how I feel about it personally.
That's fair.
So our girl Michelle from Ashburn asks us.
What up, Ashburn? Loudoun County.
What up? Not for me. So Michelle asks, Clint Robinson thoughts, lefty off the bench, and how long is Ugla around?
I think he is one of the best stories of the team this year.
Clint Robinson you're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah, not Dan Ugla.
No.
Yeah,
Clint
okay,
Robinson.
Good.
This is a guy
clear about that.
Yeah. A guy who's been around, he was in the minors for 9 years.
Yeah.
And he's gotten 2 cups of coffee and with the Royals and the Dodgers. And he's come in, made the roster out of spring training, kind of shocked a lot of people. But he's done a decent job in left field, having never played there before.
Oh, yeah.
And he's been a great left-handed bat off the bench. I mean, he's got, 4 hits so far?
Yeah, it seems to be in big location. I'm not like, clutch hitter. But he's come in, and when he made the team, I was aghast, I will admit. I had no idea that there was even a possibility that he might make the team. So it was shocking, and so it makes it a great story that however many hits he has now, but he's put together a good week at the major league level when the Nats needed a good week from someone off the bench at the major league level in the outfield.
Yeah, I think it's just a great story, and I think if he can continue to be a solid option off of the bench, then he's going to have value because he is left-handed, and that's wonderful. And he's versatile. He's a first baseman by trade, and they stuck him in left field.
Yeah, I think a corner infielder by trade, but playing left field.
And he's way better than Adam Dunn or Michael Morse ever was in the outfield.
Yeah, so, probably also better than Josh Willingham defensively also.
Yeah, honestly, but he's a great story, and I'm really happy about it. As for Dan Ugla, once again, another really good story. I'm not shocked that he made the Nationals out of spring training. I am shocked at how much he's played. Yeah,
I'm not shocked. For me is probably not the right word for as much as plays, but I'm disappointed in as much as he's played. That's probably where I'm going to go.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because I'm not surprised that he's been playing all that much, but I wish that he wasn't.
Yeah.
So, in another interesting note, considering we're talking about second basemen, so Danny Espinosa's hitting left-handed again.
Yeah, I'm not quite done.
Oh, sorry, dude. Go ahead.
Well, you kind of bridge. You didn't let me bridge to where you got. So I'm gonna bridge. I'm gonna go back.
Do it.
The bridge. You kind of jumped across the river. You kind of forded it with the team of oxen.
I've got ups.
It's word. So I'm gonna go back and kind of bridge to it. The reason why I'm kind of surprised is because the Nationals right now are a team of pitching and defense. The offense, we've all seen, is not there yet. It is not at all there outside of Bryce Harper. I love you, Bryce Harper.
Yes.
But the Nationals are going to survive April with defense and pitching.
Right.
You're going to have a great center fielder, a good center fielder in Michael Taylor. Bryce Harper, who's looked fantastic in right field so far outside of a few just making sure you're seeing the ball right, maybe a couple awkward first jumps. And then a solid infield defense, Desmond not included. But
yeah.
That's why I'm so shocked that it's Danny Espinosa sitting the bench and Dan Ugla playing, because I think you need to focus on the defense more than trying to get Dan Ugla to run into one. because we all saw that Danny Espinosa can run into them, hitting left-handed.
Yeah, I completely agree with that, and that's really the point. And we talked about this, I think, in the last podcast right before the season started, when we both predicted that Dan Uggla was probably going to make the team. But I thought that Danny Espinosa was going to be the starting third baseman. But either way, I thought there was a pretty good chance he was going to be in the starting lineup, and I think that he should be because, like I said at the time, I think that his defense outweighs the losses with the bat, and I don't think you get enough bat from Uggla back for the defense that you're losing.
Not at all. I don't think it's even close. I think Danny Espinosa right now is a better ball player all around than Dan Uggla. And that's to say nothing of Dan Uggla. I think he has shown that he is still, or excuse me, not still, he is once again a major league player, just not in Washington, not in this situation. I think there would be several teams that would benefit from having a Dan Uggla, but the Nationals are not one of them because we don't need a second baseman with a little bit of pop because we already have that in Danny Espinosa.
Yeah, if we were talking the era when Dan Uggla had, was hitting 30 home runs, then we're having a different conversation. But he's not that Dan Uggla, and he's 35 or 36 years old, and he couldn't see the baseball for a few years, and it's just the way it is. I mean, it's not close to me anymore.
Yeah, so I think disappointed is the right word. I love the story, and I'm really happy that he seems to have his concussion/vision issues behind him.
Absolutely.
And I'm happy for the guy in his schmedium shirt and schmedium pants. But I just don't see his future in DC for much longer. I just don't see it happening.
I think that's probably right. And Jeff asks us on Twitter as well. Personally, hoping like hell that Rendon's return means Uggla's DFA. Clint Robinson certainly helping. So it kind of hits the same point that we hit. And I think that that's the only thing that possibly makes sense is when Rendon's able to come back, that Dan Uggla gets designated. I don't see any other. They're not going to send Danny Espinosa down at this point. I don't think. I think there's too much value there.
Yeah.
To send him down. So I think that Dan Uggla. I think that's when the Uggla release or DFA happens, is when Rendon comes back in a few weeks.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Real quick to Mullet Girl, which is
that was my next one. So go ahead.
I have no idea what's up with Tyler Moore. I don't know why he's still on the club. I love Tebow, and I love his eyes. I could just swim in them.
And he loves his mama, and that's always good.
He'd be good to your mama. But I think his time in D.C. is long over.
Yeah.
He just hasn't gotten there. He is not there. Same with Uggla. I just don't think there's a place for him here. I think there's a place for him somewhere. Look at Steven Souza. Didn't make it with the Nationals. Doing quite well in Tampa. I think Tyler Moore could be under a similar situation as long as he finds it. And I think it's time for that experiment to be over.
Yeah, I agree entirely. And I'm a Timo fan too. I like the guy. I think he's a good character player, but I don't think he is even a bench player on a team that should be winning 95 games.
He is a role 2 player.
Yeah, exactly. It's just he just shouldn't be in that situation. And I'm with the Matt Dendecker what up with dat question. I'm assuming the send down, the question is about the send down, and the answer is Clint Robinson's playing really, really well, and Matt Dendecker had options.
Bam.
And that's the only answer to the question.
That is the story right there. I like Dendecker. I think he's going to be fine.
Oh, I still think it's a shrewd pickup by Rizzo, and I think that it's a solid move, and I think we'll see him again in 2015. But he's going to be riding the Syracuse Express a little bit this year.
This one is to EP Rob. Your mom let it happen. That's right. Your face. Okay. Next question.
Okay. Next question. So we have to get to the point because we're actually quickly running low on time because we're only doing a half-hour show this week. unless all of a sudden we get like 5,000 questions.
So please send in questions because I am having a blast.
Yeah, this is a good time. Well, I will before I hit what I was going to say. Margaret Crowley asked question, just plain old poorly coached, prepared, motivated, etc. ? And I just think it's Game 7 of 162. Period.
I think it's baseball gonna baseball.
I think it's baseball gonna baseball. Yeah, I think
that's hashtag exactly baseball gonna baseball.
Yeah, I totally agree. So the most important and pressing question is, and that I really want to make sure that we get taken care of here, is from the godfather of our blog, yes. Will Yoder, who was sent, and I'm sorry for the language, and I'm going to give a bit of a pause here because I know there are people who are not of age to hear inappropriate words, so I'm going to stall here for a minute to give them a chance to mute the show and say, why was Will Yoder sent a bag of gummy dicks? Anyone? Anyone? Bueller?
I don't know, he's kind of short.
So, Will was sent literally a bag of gummy dicks today. He posted a picture on Twitter that said, "Eat a bag of dicks," and he got it in the mail with no card. So, does anyone want to take credit for sending Will Yoder a bag of dicks? If you do, you should tweet at us and Will.
There you go.
It's funny.
Beautiful. Let's, while we're waiting for more questions to roll in, real quick, let's talk about the worst part of the first week, and that's Ian Desmond.
Yeah, oh God.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
We've seen Ian Desmond struggle early in the season before. Before it's been he's expecting a child or he's trying to quit chewing tobacco. What is going on?
Oh God, it's bad. And the most incredible thing about it is it's, so many people end up having a conversation about, Steven Strasburg bad early in innings last year or whatever. But Ian Desmond is, for years now, has been staggeringly terrible in April, especially defensively.
Yeah.
And this is not just this year, and it's not just last year, and it's not just the year before. And it's not just the year before that. I mean, it's just years and years. And they are just amateur, for lack of a better word, bullshit mistakes.
He's going to finish the month of April with about 13 to 15 errors.
Yeah.
And then end the season with about 25.
Yeah.
His total will be like 25. He'll have as many for the next 5 months that he does in April.
Yeah, and that's kind of the way it's worked, unfortunately, and there's nothing you can really do about it. You don't have another option,
right.
But and even if you had another option, it still wouldn't be as good because he's a really good shortstop still. I still believe in Ian Desmond, but he looks like a lost puppy playing shortstop.
Yes.
He is. He's rushing every throw. His mechanics are off. He's not fielding routine plays. He's like triple hopping Ryan Zimmerman over at first base. It's bad baseball.
It's not good, and he's pressing at the plate too. You can tell. Like he's a swing first guy. He doesn't take a lot of pitches. Everyone knows that, but he seems to be swinging at more of everything than the everything he was swinging at before.
Yeah, you're right. He's being more selective, which is not his MO, and it's not working.
Right.
So why is he trying to do that?
Yeah, he's definitely pressing. It's rough. It's really hard to watch. It's gotten almost comical right now.
Yeah, well, today's game in general was simply comical.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just everything about it was comical. I didn't actually see it, but I was listening on the radio at work, and it just even Charlie and Dave were like, "What is going on?" Like, at one point, Charlie said, "So apparently the Nationals' alarm clocks didn't go off today. Like, just didn't get up to play baseball today." And that's an unfortunate reality. I wish that there was a simple conclusion, a simple answer for why a game like today happens and there just isn't one. It was just a bad game of baseball.
It was a rough day. So Ian Desmond, he'll break out of it eventually. He always does. He's a good player. He's going to have a lot of errors, but he's also going to hit with some pop, and he's going to, show off the range that everyone knows he has. It's going to come. Don't worry about it. We're looking at a 7-game sample right now, and it's rough, but that's okay because that's life, and tomorrow is another day, and it'll be great. So, bad stuff like that aside, who has most impressed you the first 2 games?
I'm gonna take a pitcher and a position player.
Okay.
Can I do that?
Yeah, sure.
Pitcher is Max Scherzer because what the fuck, he's so good.
Yeah, he's really good.
So I knew Max Scherzer coming to DC was going to be really, really good. Like I knew it, but the nature of watching East Coast baseball is you don't see a lot of Central baseball, and I certainly didn't watch a whole lot of Tigers. So when they were in the playoffs or when they were on national television, I knew that Max Scherzer was a really good pitcher. Had no idea he was as good as he really is. He's ridiculously good. Like you could see why he won a Cy Young and why he's been in the top 3 pitchers in like all of baseball in the last 3 years. It's ridiculous how good he is at baseball, and I knew he was going to be good, and I still underestimated. So my pitcher is Max Scherzer. My position player, and I think there are some good choices here, but my answer has to be Ryan Zimmerman.
Yeah, that's mine too.
Yeah, because he switched. Ryan Zimmerman is the ultimate case of class.
Oh boy. Oh no.
I'm going there.
Oh gosh.
Because the statistics are there. He is that kind of player, and he is phenomenal. He is a great offensive player. He is a great defensive player. But for Ryan Zimmerman, a guy who still has a chance, and that a lot of things would have to happen, but still has a chance at being the Nationals' first Hall of Fame caliber baseball player, to be at third base and say, leave for injury and have Anthony Rendon take over for you, and to come back and say, oh no, Anthony Rendon's way better than me right now. I'll play left field. That's cool. And then to come into this year and say, no, Anthony Rendon, still way better than me, really can't throw all that well anymore. So I'll just go and play first base and take the hit of playing first base defensively rather than third base. That's fine. And then be awesome at it. It's just incredible to me.
Yeah, Zimmerman has been fantastic over there at first base. He's been Ryan Zimmerman at the plate as well, which is wonderful. That I'm hoping that as we get further into the season, that we see more of Ryan Zimmerman being Ryan Zimmerman at the plate instead of what we saw last year and the year before, where you could kind of see him take his troubles in the field to his at-bats.
Yeah.
So Ryan Zimmerman, he has made a handful of really, really top-notch defensive plays that I'd say 26 or 27 first basemen cannot make.
Yeah.
At least.
People who do not watch baseball as a whole and are mostly just people who watch Nats games, first of all, that's awesome. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying, might not realize because for the last 4 years, Adam LaRoche was the Nationals' first baseman.
Yes, and so, Gold Glover himself.
Right, so who is among the top first basemen in all of baseball defensively. So it's really uncommon to have a first baseman that's that good. And if you were a fan back in the 2008 time frame when Adam Dunn was playing a lot of first base, you remember how bad it could be. So, yeah, and there are a lot of other teams that are in way worse shape than the Nationals are and have been over the last 5 years.
But one of the things that's great is you're seeing Ryan Zimmerman's third base range translate easily to first base, which we were hoping that it would. We were expecting that it would, but it's still, as Wash says in Moneyball, it's incredibly hard,
Right, it is.
It's not easy to play first base, and Ryan Zimmerman, he had that wonderful, wonderful diving catch on a bunt. I believe it was on opening day. Maybe?
I don't remember.
He had that wonderful diving catch on a bunt, and then he actually had, I'll go ahead and say, game-saving play to end the game the other day. in the shadows. He was in the sun. The ball was coming out of the shadows, and he went to his right, made a phenomenal play, and Drew Storen got to first in time. But
that was a great play.
He was shielded
I know
by
exactly the play you're talking about.
I think it was yesterday. He was shielded by the runner, couldn't get a good look on the ball, and he just made an absolutely phenomenal play to get that ball and get the out. And you're not going to see many first basemen at all make that play as athletically as he is able to do. The other player I want to mention as just really impressing me, Bryce Harper.
Oh, yeah.
Shocking.
Yeah.
He is prone early in the season, so it seemed, to be swinging for the fences, but you got to think that going through his head right now, no one else is going to do it. I need to do it.
Right. Yeah, there's no one else left.
There's no one doing the offense right now. I'm going to try and hit many balls out of the park, and he has hit 2 so far.
Yeah, 2 in 7 games is pretty freaking good.
And almost hit another 2.
Right.
He hit one to the wall against Philly, I want to say, and then he had one robbed today by Mookie Betts.
Oh, yeah, right. I forgot about that.
So he has almost hit 4 home runs thus far. And he looks like he's comfortable at the plate. Being in right field I've already seen several plays where there's a runner on, the opposing runner on first, there's a somewhat hard hit ground ball to right, and the players aren't taking third.
Oh yeah, they're not even trying.
Right.
They know the arm. They know what he can do.
They would run on Jason Worth, but
Absolutely.
They're not running on Bryce Harper, and so that's going to come into play as we get a bigger sample throughout the rest of the season. But you can already see the writing on the wall that Bryce Harper is going to have a year.
Yeah, I believed it from the beginning, and I still think that it's true. And so, yeah, I was torn between Harper and Zimmerman for exactly the reason you say, and they're 2 pretty good options.
Yeah, I really don't have a pitcher yet.
That's fair. I mean, there's been like 1 start from each of them.
Yeah,
except for a couple.
Yeah, I expected Scherzer to be this amazing. So.
Yeah, I knew he was going to be good. I didn't expect this good. That's all.
Yeah. So yeah, some really good things happening. Small sample size is the name of the game.
Yep.
Calm down out there. It's only been a week, and a day without baseball is worse than anything we've seen in the first week.
Absolutely true. Well said, sir. Well, unless you have anything more to add, I think we're going to wrap this one up.
I'm pretty good, man.
Yeah. Well, thanks for everybody to reaching out with all their questions this week. It made things flow a whole hell of a lot better. So we really appreciated you guys reaching out for questions. We'll do this again in another week or 2 weeks at the max, depending on what kind of things can transpire between now and then.
Yes.
So we'll let you guys know when we're going to do another episode. We will take some more questions, and we hope to answer even more of them next time around.
Definitely.
Thanks for listening to episode 92 of Nats Talk on the Go. Aaron, suck it.
That's right.
And we will talk to you guys next time.
I'm going to take Leslie out for a nice steak dinner, that's for sure.
Yeah, nice.